everyone. Welcome to the 30-day Speaker Summit. We got an amazing guest, Ryan White, who's a really good friend of mine. And for a lot of people who want to learn about social media and branding, Ryan's the guy with a whopping 400,000 followers on Instagram alone. So we'll kind of get more into detail. So if you're looking for branding advice and really, socializing on that front, Ryan is definitely the guy to help you out and is very knowledgeable. It's not just theory. Now, for a lot of people that are watching, this is your first video in the summit. My name is Daniel Francis. I am the host of the event. I'm the creator of the Master Your Stutter program. And in this summit, it's called the 30-day Speaker because the idea is, as the host, I am interviewing 30 different perspectives on communication. There's a lot of people in the summit that have a gift that they kind of take for granted at times. And that's the whole intention behind the summit, is to grab those gifts and show them to you. If you want to learn how to public speak, if you want to learn how to connect with others and introduce yourself, you apply all these principles, and 30 days from now, you're a completely different speaker. And that's the whole intention and purpose behind it. So again, I got another amazing guest. Now, let me give a quick introduction before Mr. Ryan has to say anything. Cool. So Ryan is a 7-figure digital entrepreneur, influencer, investor, press contributor, and speaker. So he's got quite a resume. Ryan founded the globally recognized social media marketing company, Social Revelation, which helps businesses and personal brands increase their digital footprint and brand awareness online. Ryan's company manages the social media strategy for several 7 to 8 figure earners who are top performers within their industry. He has curated a personal online network of around 4 million people from all around the world, which is kind of a big deal. Ryan has also been featured on various entrepreneurial and business podcasts, such as Entrepreneurs on Fire. It's one of my favorite podcasts. Underdog Empowerment, The Daily Grind, The No Excuse Show, The Millionaire's Hot Seat, and on live television shows, Good Morning LLA Land in West Hollywood and The Mountain Morning Show in Park City, Utah. So Ryan has been around the block, if you want to say. And one of the biggest things that as I've kind of got to know Ryan is, he knows how to get his foot in the door. And he knows what it takes to really go above and beyond. And that's why I'm super excited. So with that being said, Ryan, welcome to the show, sir.
Daniel, I appreciate you, man, so much for having me. I'm excited to jump into this.
Awesome. Well, I hope you like my introduction. So,
Yeah, dude, that was bomb. That was bomb. I don't think that I could have done it any better myself.
I love that. Awesome. So Ryan, let's just kind of get into this whole idea. You're on, the Art of Socializing Day, and there's a lot of people here that want to really build connections and connect with a lot of people, but they struggle with that, whether they're in business, whether they're on campus, whether they're in their professional life. And I know, Ryan, you're a big advocate in using social media to really grow yourself. So let's kind of like just dig into that right now. What does a social media brand mean to you, and why is it important for people to even consider investing into one and improving one?
Yeah, for sure. So social media, man, is a way to tell your story. It's a way to create value in the community of people that are following you, right? And so it's super important because it builds trust. It builds credibility, right? It gives you that layer of social proof that is going to allow you to be able to go. And if you're trying to monetize a product, to be able to generate more revenues, right? Through closing, potential customers. And so, for a public speaker, I talk a lot about how, when you're in a room and you're holding a microphone, you're already giving, this authority, right? But social media allows you to kind of go a little bit deeper by kind of telling your story and elaborating it on a little bit more, so that you're building trust, you're putting value in front of people, and more importantly, after your talk, you're able to stay relevant in people's minds, right? Because we know as human beings, we become irrelevant really, really quickly. When we leave an event, a week or 2 weeks goes by, and it's an afterthought. Right. And so with social media, by creating that brand, I think it's a way to get people engaged and to stay in front of their face for a longer period of time and build that trust, build that relationship.
Yeah. And where do people go wrong with social media? Because I feel like there's a lot of people where they overcomplicate it, and they say, man, this is too much. So do I go Instagram, Facebook, YouTube? Oh my God, I don't know where to go. And so, you know
um,
what? It's not for me. Right?
Yeah, I think with social media, the biggest thing is understanding the end goal of what you're trying to use it for. And I think a lot of people get started with social media and they don't have a vision of what they're trying to do with it. And so they're all over the place. There's no structure. And then when it comes to actually, having a presence on all the different platforms, and so I'll be honest with you, am I more active on Instagram than say Twitter? Of course I am, but I'm at least smart enough to have a footprint on Twitter because there are eyeballs on Twitter that will see me there that will never find me, particularly on Instagram. And so I think it's important now to have, I mean, there's applications, right? I mean, heck, even in the Instagram app, with the press of a button, you can upload content, right, to Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter all at one time. And so I think it's important to have a presence on all the channels if you're going to go and do it. I've never been one that's been kind of one foot in, one foot out. I'm either usually all in something or I'm not doing it at all. And so if you're going to go down the social media journey, I think it's important that you're creating content, specifically to format all of the different channels. And if you want to put an emphasis on one, that's okay. Like for me, when I very first got started, if you're looking for, an action step of kind of putting one foot in front of the other, I started specifically with Instagram for the first 30 days to try to get some traction. And then naturally, as you start creating content and content becomes easier for you, you can try to start to expand at that point.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And for a lot of people, like let's just look at a connection front. Um, you know, do you think if someone goes too well into social media, or like it puts like they're not being genuine, like where does I guess where people lose that genuinity online? Because I feel like that's where a lot of people, it's like I don't want to show too much of me because then people may judge me. I don't want to show it's like this, like what is the balance? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great question, and the answer to that is people want authenticity, right? I think it's important to show the shallow end of the pool and the deep end of the pool. So, right, I think so many people, like on Instagram specifically, are so focused on painting this perfect picture, because they think that's what's going to grow their following. But in reality, when it comes to connecting with people, when we portray this perfect lifestyle, we're actually creating disconnect with people because they can't relate to it. There's a saying that says your suffering is your story and your pain is your platform, right? So it's like in those vulnerable moments of showing the deep end of the pool, right? Me standing in front of a Mercedes is the shallow end of the pool, but me talking about the 3 months where I actually dealt with depression is the deep end of the pool. And that is what people is going to bring people through the door. That's what's actually going to close more people when it comes to sales, because you're triggering an emotional response in people that's very relatable to them.
So should you not post a picture of you beside the Mercedes?
No, you definitely should, because again, social proof psychologically goes a long way. So there's a way to go about it. I mean, with my page, I try to do what we call attraction marketing, right? When it comes to connecting people, it's like if you look at my page, I want you to know that I am successful, that I am living what I'm saying that I am going out and doing, right? But I'm not in your face, like obviously showing $100 bills, like flashing cash, and putting out all this stuff that kind of like I'm not renting a Lamborghini and standing in front of it, right? I'm actually standing in front of the car that you can see there's a bow on it, right? We just got my wife a Mercedes GLE 350. Like there's the bow, I'm standing in front of it, but it's the caption was value driven, right? It's not me, doing some cliche, bosses make money type of vibe, right? It's there. And so, I mean, I think if you were to scale my page, that I'm successful, but it's not an in your face kind of success. It's just kind of builds that trust and has that social credibility to understand that if I put an offer in front of you, you can trust that obviously I'm doing what I'm telling you that I'm doing.
And it's so funny, and I don't want this to be shallow, right? But I always have this conversation with my girlfriend of why do people judge others based on their followers? I don't know if this conversation has ever gone through your head, but like when you're like, oh, who is that person? And then what's the next question? How many followers do they have?
For sure.
Like,
I think
why is
it's
that a
more,
thing?
it's a psychological thing, I believe. We all, being popular, right? Being prestigious has always been a thing with human beings. When you were, in sixth grade and we were having a pickup game, nobody wanted to be the last person picked, right? It's kind of like you wanted to be the first person picked because you wanted to have, like, you wanted other people to kind of give you that credibility that you are the star player. Like I was chosen first. So we've always kind of had underlying, even growing up through childhood. If let's just say the kid had the new Air Jordans that come out and you see him at school, it's like, oh, I want for Christmas, what am I asking for? Well, I want to go or save up my money and get the Air Jordans because as I walk through the hallway, I want the acceptance from the people. And I think the follower count is just basically a representation of acceptance in a certain degree, if that makes sense. So I think it's more on a psychological level where it kind of makes people feel like there's, FOMO is a real thing, fear of missing out. So if like you come across a page that seems to have 100,000 followers, you're like, wow, there's a lot of hype around this page. What am I missing here? So it's a lot easier to click the follow button.
Very interesting. That is a great perspective. What am I missing out on?
What values here? Obviously, because it's like if you were going to go to a restaurant, right, or you were going to go see a movie, what are we going to do? The first thing that we do is we go pull up Google reviews or we pull up Yelp and we read reviews from other people. So we make decisions based upon social proof. And a follower count is another form. It's another metric, vanity metric that is used for social proof. So it's no different than I'm going to go to this restaurant. There's 1,600 reviews and it's a 4.8 out of 5 stars. I probably should go here. Everyone's raving about it. It's no different than me going to an Instagram page and seeing 250,000 followers. You know what I mean? It seems like there's community there. There's value there and there's something to be a part of. And maybe I'm missing out because I'm not following, right? So that's the
That's
angle that
awesome.
I see.
That's awesome. And it's also like, let's just like even the idea of like when you like meet someone new and if they go on your page and because that's what a lot of people do, man. What's the first thing they do whenever they meet someone? They Google them, right? They go on their Facebook, on their Instagram. And I think when there's nothing there, it's like, why is nothing there? What is this person hiding? Can I trust this person? And a lot of you might be thinking this, right? Or why hasn't this person posted since 2016? What is going on with this individual, right? So you
For
speak a lot
sure.
of truth right here, and it's like I think we get caught up in this. And I think with this interview, Ryan, I think it's a lot of breaking people's beliefs. So I think a lot of people have certain beliefs within social media. I think people start going, well, you know, yeah, like do you understand where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I definitely think
It's a
there are
waste of your
definitely,
time. Get off
yeah.
your phone.
No, for sure. I definitely think there are pros and cons to social media, of course. The one thing for me that my wife and I have to be mindful of is how much time are we spending on social media because it's what we do. Obviously, we don't want to be a couple sitting at dinner that's only scrolling through social media, right? Because it's what we do for a living, but we're not connecting, with what's right in front of us. So it's understanding that there are cons to it and then putting in barriers in place. But there's no doubt about it that your business can scale if you haven't implemented social media. There's no question there. My business took off 1000%, the moment I stepped into the social media realm. And a lot of my clients that come to me for the purpose of, hey, I've already kind of made it, if you will. Like I'm happy with where I'm at offline, but I can reach far more people and give way more value to others around the world with this social media game. Can you help me? Because I've never wanted to touch it. Matter of fact, a client of mine yesterday, he just come on board because he's like, dude, I've been against this for forever. I've been a millionaire for the last, since I was 28 years old. And, I've coached, thousands of students, but I've never wanted to do social media because, there is a kind of a nastiness to it, right? You always feel like you're playing this game of keeping up with the Jetsons, right? And so, you don't want to have to do that. It's like, but I think the world is finally at a point where it's starting to transition because it's been around a little bit. And I think more and more people are starting to show the raw and vulnerability side of things, like again, the deep end of the pool. And through that, they're able to touch more people because there's no doubt about it. I mean, social media gives you the power to virtually not only get in front of anyone you want to get in front of in the world, but you can reach someone over in India. You can reach someone in the Philippines. You can reach someone right over in Europe that you wouldn't normally necessarily have the means to go and do.
Yeah, and I know for myself because I've obviously been putting more effort towards it. Like I actually have a team that helps me run the social media on all different fronts, and I can even just be a testimonial there that when I wasn't doing it to then doing it, it's funny. It's like all my clients will like my posts. They'll be reminded of me on a daily basis, right? They'll be like, it's like even when you get a client, you got to keep them sold on you, you know.
Facts. Yeah,
Like you got like just because you have them in the door doesn't mean you keep them next month.
of
And
course.
that social media, I'm now realizing that it's free advertisement.
100%. It's the value, right? It's the jab, 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 and you're just hitting them over and over and over. And it's like, I don't know, if someone's on the cusp, right? If they're a client and maybe they're on the cusp of canceling, maybe you put a video or something in front of them that's like, oh, wow, I didn't even know that, he was knowledgeable in this particular area, or this hit home with me personally. and they ended up obviously rolling over another 30, 60, 90 days. Or maybe you have a potential buyer who is 90% sold, and then they go and follow you on your social media channel, and you put a video that they really needed to see. It was their last obstacle, right, that they were trying to overcome. And that piece of content literally just handled that objection, boom, and it closed the sale for you. And so, like you said, it's definitely free advertisement. It's just a way to really get value into the marketplace and to stay relevant in front of people for a longer period of time.
Yeah, my next question to you is, I've heard a lot of people talk about this concept, so I'm excited to hear your perspective. But what's like a good what's a good pattern that people should be promoting? And meaning like for like I've heard the example, like say I'm a Christian and all I post is pictures of Jesus all the time. That gets really old. Or
For
if
sure.
I'm a business guy and all I'm doing is just business, 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 business. I'm an entrepreneur. The 9 to 5 sucks, like that gets boring very old. Or
For sure.
or picture of my dog, picture of my cat, picture of my dog, picture of my cat. So it becomes this idea, whether you're a business person, whether you're just someone who just wants to build a bigger social life and wants to connect with others, or whatever you want to call it. What's a good pattern that you live by and that you've seen work?
Yeah, so for me specifically, I think structure is important, but like you said, I mean, people get tired of seeing the same old, same old. And so a 80-20 principle is something that I try to live by. And so again, imagine a world where if I'm an entrepreneur and I'm giving value, well, 80% of my posts can be geared to that, but it is proven that people do like 20% of randomness. Now, if you start to exceed 20% of unpredictability, then naturally people would be like, okay, this is too much for me. And it actually throws their stress levels like out of sync. It's a real thing. Statistics back this up. I mean, this is like research I'm giving you here. But at the same time, when you get above like 80% of being predictable, so people like about 80% predictability. But when you get to where it's 99.99, think about your relationship. When it becomes too predictable, you get bored and people want to move on. But at the same time, so I think, that it can happen too. Nobody wants to be in a relationship where, you're 80% unpredictable, right? Because you're just a constant mess all the time and your stress levels are through the
Mm.
roof. So 80-20 is powerful. So, if you're an entrepreneur, or, maybe you're a fitness coach, I think it's important 80% of the time, put that value out into the marketplace, but then mix it up the other 20% of the time. So 2 out of 10 posts, do something you wouldn't normally do, right? Post something that you normally wouldn't post. And then what I try to do as well to kind of further break this down is Instagram is actually divided into 3 columns. I actually have a designated category for every single column. So that's why I was telling you, anytime I do a podcast interview and we put in like what I call bite-sized value, a 60-second clip of a recap of an interview, I'll put that in one of my columns. So me doing a TV show, me doing an interview, anything like that, business related, I have a business column. Then I have a family column, right, which is designated to my wife, friends, me living my life, right? And then I may have a column over here where it's like me actually doing something, like it could be hobbies, it could be interests, it could be something about reading books, personal development type of stuff. But I think it's important to really identify your 3 tiers and then stick to that, because again, you have a little bit of wiggle room, but at the same time, you can still keep 20% randomness, because, maybe I show my wife on family day, but then the next time I post, I'm showing me with the boys out on guys night. So it's a little bit different. So for me, my 3 tiers are family, faith, and freedom. Freedom obviously being more business related
That's the randomness with the boys.
with the boys. That's it. That's it. Maybe we could throw in a cool car here and there.
Yeah, that's good. I'm thinking like randomness. Is it like a funny video, like a skit?
It
Like,
could be something. It can't just be off the wall. I mean, it could be something. Prime example. Like if you go and follow, so my TikTok or my YouTube channel. My wife and I, we have it where we kind of vlog like our trips, our vacations, all this type of stuff. So instead of me just giving you a 60-second rant about personal development and how you need to level up in life, right, and just do it, it could be a TikTok or a YouTube clip where I kind of do more. I kind of show the behind the scenes. I'm not the CEO type of persona that I portray, in most of my other posts. It could be a time where I use TikTok specifically and YouTube specifically when I'm vlogging to kind of show the funny, the silly side of me. And so dropping those posts in here and there, prime example, I guess this would be a good example. I created a video, we did a vlog, and at the end of it, because it's the holidays, I dressed up as Santa, and at the end of it, we literally threw on some Christmas jingle, right? And your boy got down in a Santa suit. And at the end of it, I actually did lose my footing and actually fell down in that video. So you can imagine like me always being professional, 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 professional. Now immediately, anytime, and which happens about 2 out of 10 times, anytime my wife reposts or I post something of me being funny and just kind of crazy, they're like, it gets the best engagement because people don't expect that from me.
God, this is huge right here, everyone. Yeah, it's that 80-20 rule. That's it gets me thinking too. It's definitely because people like consistency.
For sure.
People like consistency in all aspects, but that 20%, that you know what, I wasn't expecting that. That is very
It's an eye
interesting.
turner, and it makes you stop, and you're that's the video that you're watching 3 or 4 times on repeat because you don't know when the next one's coming. Does that make sense?
Whoa, this is some fire right here, everyone. I hope you're taking notes.
For sure. So it's just interesting because anytime literally my wife posts that, man, I mean her DMs just gets flooded with people like laughing, crying, like the reactions is gold.
You know what? I'm super curious. I don't know if you ever get this question, but like you and your wife, for example, let's look at Instagram. I mean, you have you said you have 4 million followers overall, right?
Collectively on all channels, yeah.
Collectively. So would it be right to say, I don't want to like label you, but would you be considered an influencer? Like how do you be like, now I'm an influencer because I hit over 1 million? Is that even a thing? Or like
Yeah,
to
I
me,
think
it's like,
go ahead.
to me, it's like, I feel like someone at that level who has a big following, because I can even see myself now, the DMs just keep popping up. It's like, holy smoke. So yeah, like, so A, what actually makes you, you know, consider that, if that's even a thing? You probably don't even think that way. And B, what's it like actually having all that attention, living with
Yeah.
that?
So the first one, I think, the first threshold, if you're wanting to be an influencer, and I think influence is defined by, we all have influence, right? I mean, we all have our circle of influence, and whether it's 30 people or 300,000 doesn't really matter. I think we're all influencers, and I think we all have a voice, obviously, which is why Twitter's so hot, right? Because everyone wants to say something. But in terms specific to your question, if you're trying to be what we would call, a true influencer, like my wife, prime example, I would consider her a true influencer as a professional because that's what she does day in and day out, and she actually gets paid from brands a full-time income to actually promote their stuff, right? And so prime example, like she has annual contracts with some of these companies that literally, will pay her 600, $800,000 a post on her Instagram, right? And she's in a 12-month contract with a lot of these companies, and they're big name companies. I'll throw one right here because everyone knows
Sorry,
her for it.
that's
But
$600 to $800, not, or,
yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
600 to $800 per every time she hits the upload
Crazy.
button. But she's under a 12-month contract with Bang Energy drinks, so everyone drinks Bang. So she is one of the Bang influencers for that as well. And so, just powerful. I would consider her an influencer, and that kind of started. I mean, typically, I would say around 10K. I mean, 10K, 20K, 30K range. You can start getting paid, right? Or at the very least, start getting product for free in exchange for promotion at around 10 to 30K. So, um, the big question is, at what point are you considered an influencer? I think you can have 100 people and still have influence. I
Mm,
think to do it professionally, honestly, the number is around 10 to 30K from what I'm seeing to kind of go full time, if you
okay,
will.
okay.
Now my wife, she's at 500,000 followers, and so she's now able to put herself in a position to where she can do this full time, and she probably has 8 to 10 brands that she works with pretty consistently. I mean,
Crazy.
heck, man, we have we work with Nordic. She worked with Nordic Track recently, where we have literally one of the like a $5,000 treadmill in our home gym downstairs that we didn't pay for, because they shipped it. They actually sent us two of them, and we had to was like, hey, you sent us too many.
Either
So
way, yeah.
yeah, but anyway, point is she did a promotion for them, with an order track, and now we have a $5,000 treadmill in our home gym, for free. So definitely has its advantages. And then as far as the attention goes, the DMs definitely can be overwhelming at times. One of my Instagram pages, naturally has 3 million followers on it. And so I'll be honest, like I can't even keep up with the DM request. I don't even open them up because it's just so much. But on my personal account, you know, I think right now sitting, I'm around 450,000 followers. And yeah, man, it can get overwhelming. Like it can get to, you know how it'll rank up to, you have 99 requests sitting there. I don't know if you ever let it get that far, but
Not
mine,
me yet. No, no, no.
it
Not me
only
yet.
goes to 99 requests. And I would say that if I go 2 days without checking my DMs, it hits that 99. It says 99 plus. And so it can be a lot. I have to check them every day, but part of my strategy, and this is a golden nugget for you guys. When it comes to networking, I do a couple things that I think has really allowed me to kind of catapult myself. So, in terms of giving back, number one, I reach out to three people. So, three people, I pick three individuals that truly are asking me. Not, this isn't, hey, bro, what's good, right? It isn't that DM, but it's the person that either sends me a video or takes the time, to give me value first and then ask me a question. I try to respond genuinely to three people per day because I think that's important in the universe, obviously, of if you believe in karma, things coming back around, to be able to give people true value without, for free, and it'll flow back my way. And then the other thing that I try to do is I will literally try to reach out to a power player. Now, who is a power player? Somebody in my space who's absolutely killing it that I want to get in front of. I want to build that connection. I want to build that relationship. So every single day, I then take the time, right, out of my day to craft something that is value driven to another individual. Okay, prime example, reached out to Tim Tebow the other day. Boom, within 24 hours, I'm getting a response. He's like, hey, man, feel free to reach out anytime. So I'm trying to build that relationship, nourish that. But my point is on Instagram specifically, the power of the DM is crazy. We virtually can get in front of anyone we want to get in front of. Now, of course, having the blue check mark next to my name does help because it generates attention, right? That does help.
He's the
Um,
cool kid in school, everyone.
right. Well, when we talk about blue checks and stuff like that, people talk about, is it worth it? Should I go after it? Should I make that a goal? And the reality is my business literally doubled or tripled from the moment I got the blue check mark. It's just a reality because of the relationships that I was able to go out and get in front of. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're reaching out to Tony Robbins, and you can only imagine if I have, get hundreds of DMs a day, what is he getting? And so it's like, you have to have something that sets you apart. And the reality is if you, it is what it is, guys. If you have a blue check mark, you're kind of considered that you're at least doing something important. You bring some sort of value to the marketplace. And so a lot of times your message gets open. It just is what it is. I've personally witnessed this, that because I've been consistently reaching out to three, power players for probably the last 2 years. And that's why I feel like I've built such a great network, to where my network is everything. And no shot I would be where I'm at, now without my network. But I can definitely see the open rates skyrocketed from the moment I got the blue check mark. That's just a reality.
Well, it goes to the top of the list, right? Does it or no?
So typically, and it might have changed, but how it used to be was if you didn't have a verified page or a blue badge, you would land in the request tab if the person wasn't following you. And then, so the little tweak with being verified, one of the perks is, I've heard, I need to test this out, but they always get open. So I'm assuming it still works, is that you go straight into the inbox if you have a verified badge versus
Wow.
landing in the DM requests.
Ryan, that's impossible. I could never get a blue check mark. And for everyone watching, see, this is how I hook it. For everyone watching, I do a second interview with Ryan in the All Access Pass. Where we'll go a little more in depth. Maybe not everything, but we'll kind of drop some nuggets, right, Ryan?
Yeah, we'll drop some nuggets. I'll give you guys some very generic basics. And the reality is you'll want to stick around because you can't find this information public anywhere. It's not out there.
So hurry up and upgrade. Ryan, the last question that I have for you is, and you did kind of talk about it, is that ability to really build networks and connections. And I think this is the note I want to leave it on, is I truly believe when you start to build a strong social media brand, you open yourself up to the entire world. Like even those consistent 1 day posts or something, like whatever, right? I just think it will literally change your life. And if you're considering, like, I don't know, should I like really spend time for it? Sorry. Should I really spend time for it? The answer is, I hope we can see it in both our eyes. The answer is yes. And if you're not doing it, you're crazy. So I don't know if you want to add anything before we kind of wrap up this interview, Ryan, to that.
Yeah, I would just say, I think the single most important asset that someone can own going into 2021 is a personal brand. And the reality is, we'll kind of talk about in the next segment, obviously, all the benefits from having it, but it's unprecedented in terms of the monetization, the relationships you can build, the networking that comes with it. I think it's extremely important. with everything moving online, especially during a pandemic year like we just had, everything is literally moving online. So with social media being such a huge foundation, a cornerstone, if you will, of the online space, it just doesn't make sense not to have a presence there. So, whether you're someone who is wanting to start a business for the first time or whether you're just an employee who's looking to start a side hustle, definitely social media can be your golden ticket.
Yeah, buddy. Oh man, this was a fun one, Ryan. I
Let's
appreciate
go.
that. I appreciate that.
For
So
sure.
everyone watching, I hope you got a lot of value out of this. My advice is watch this twice. My advice is watch this twice. This was an awesome interview, and there's a lot of golden nuggets that if you really start looking at this, and this is why this is what the whole summit is about, is getting different perspectives from different people. You might have heard things today. You're like, yeah, a lot of people don't talk like that. Exactly. It's exactly why I brought Ryan on. Ryan, a lot of people don't talk the way you do. And again, considering this stuff, building up your confidence in your, because that's what it really is. You're sharing your confidence with the world, however you want to do it. If you're very vulnerable, that's you sharing your confidence to the world. So if you start applying everything from the speaking to the social media to building relationships to all this stuff, you'll be a completely different person in 30 days
There's
from
no doubt. There's no doubt.
now. And it's their basic tweaks. And I hope everyone watching this right now, I hope you're getting a lot of value, because I'm getting a lot of value from this. And I already know this. I already know some stuff like this already. So with that being said, Ryan, I appreciate you. I will see you in the next interview. If you haven't upgraded, everyone, the All Access Pass, I'm telling you, life-changing stuff. So with that being said, Ryan White, my name is Daniel Francis, and this is the 30-Day Summit, and we'll see you in the next interview. Bye.